every now and then when I go visit my wife's parents, we go to Georgia near Fort Gordon in Augusta. I actually was stationed there for a year once while I was in the military, but I love their golf course. And sometimes we go play bingo also on base. So I'll go on base, and I have to go into the pass office where I got to give them my ID. They run it through the national database, and they make sure that I'm not a threat. And right now, I know I'm not on any kind of a watch list because they always let me on base after doing the background check on me right there at Fort Gordon. So it's weird. I don't know why I'm not in trouble because I'm totally speaking out all the time against the United States of America Corporation, and and I'm like asking people, hey, quit serving in the military because you're really supporting, crimes against humanity. Stop.
Yeah.
But nobody's saying or doing anything to me, which I find interesting. I thought by now I would be an enemy of the state, but I'm not, I guess.
Well, you haven't disappeared out on, or had a major heart attack and died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
not yet, anyway.
I don't know. Maybe I'm secretly an enemy of the state, and there's a little red dot by my name or something, and that means give this guy a heart attack. So I'm probably just waiting for the right time.
Sometimes, too, I feel like if a person's more open about it, they don't want to make an issue about it because it would draw more issue to, doing something about it, So.
Well, that's what I've been doing is using the mass media and by all means necessary, doing interviews, doing YouTube videos, making movies, doing reality shows, appearing on TV, writing books. So, yeah, I'm totally putting the information out there and using all forms of mass media. And maybe I've already gone too far now to where if something did happen to me, then it would validate what I'm saying.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
so
it's a good possibility. Now, how many books have you wrote so far?
I've got, my first book that I wrote was actually, I co-wrote it. I got, I applied to a Craigslist ad. Once I started writing my first book, and I hadn't published it yet, I had just resigned from the Department of Defense, and I decided to start writing the Second Coming of the Messiah book, Book 1, The Awakening. That was the first one I published for myself. But before that, someone had hired me to help them write a screenplay called Harry Johnson. It was a spoof comedy about it's called Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. And it was a spoof comedy about a guy, about a man born very well endowed, who went on to become a war hero and then an international porn star and gigolo. But it was really it's kind of a touching story. It's got it's raunchy in a way, but it also is about someone who just wanted to have love from their parents, basically, and be validated as a human being and just be loved. But I that was the first book that I was ever part of publishing. And then after that, when I did that screenplay, I told the guy who wrote the screenplay, I go, this is a really good idea, and it's in screenplay format. If you start trying to pitch this screenplay to Hollywood, they're probably going to try and steal it. So in order for you to protect the story, I recommend that you turn it into a book. So we went through the whole process of turning the story into a book and then publishing that book. And then at the end of that process, my buddy, the guy, my friend told me, who I helped, because we became friends through the process. When you write a book, it's like having a baby. We basically made a child together in a sense. And so he said, you should take this process that you took me through and turn that into a book. So after I did Harry Johnson with him, I wrote the book, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less, which teaches you how to write your screenplay in 30 days or less, how to turn it into a book, and then how to take your screenplay and turn it into a movie or create the package to sell to a studio. And then after I did that book, I published the Second Coming of the Messiah book, Book 1, The Awakening, which is about, I wrote it kind of as a sequel to the Bible, which takes us from the end of where the Bible ends to up through modern day on how the Illuminati formulated and took over Earth. And then it takes us through the story of this Messiah character who is working at the Pentagon. He becomes the Messiah in both in a kind of Martin Luther Kingish kind of a way, and an esoteric kind of way, where he wants to lead the people out of slavery, and he also starts just understanding how to astral travel, how to, become more of an etheric kind of a soul. And so I published that book, and then after that, I was in Hollywood making Hollywood and Vine, the movie, and when I finished the script and finished shooting the movie, and started the editing process, then I took the final screenplay based on how the movie wound up. Because it's weird, when you write a screenplay and then shoot the movie based on the screenplay, it really never comes out precisely how the screenplay was written.
Right.
So I rewrote the screenplay based on the final movie, and then I turned that final script into a book, and I published Hollywood and Vine. And now I'm about halfway through doing. So those are the 4 books that I have out. I'm the only co-writer on that Johnson book. So the 3 books that are mine are The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less, and then Hollywood and Vine. And then I have like 4 other books that I'm currently working on. I think when I finish filming Horoscope, then I'm going to put out Horoscope as a book. And then I have another book I'm doing that I'm going to put out called The People versus the United States of America, which is about, how to become a living soul and remove yourself from the jurisdiction of the United States of America. And if everyone across the earth did that, then there would be no more war and poverty. So that book is really going to be the full step-by-step solution on how to save the world from the powers that be.
Oh, wow. How long does it take you to write a book? On the average.
Well, I'd say from start to finish, it takes about a year, depending on how much time I can devote to it, I would say. Because the thing is, I'm always working on more than one thing at a time. I mean, my wife tells me you can't really multitask. You can only really do one thing at a time. So I'm always working on several projects all at the same, time, and I can devote a certain amount of time to each one. Like right now, I started writing the Horoscope book probably a year ago after I finished the script. I wrote this Horoscope script more than a year ago, really. And I wanted to start filming it a year ago, but the kids that were going to be in it were not ready. There was actually too much fighting going on. Now that they've gotten a little bit older, there's less fighting going on, and we can get this movie done. So I actually came to Florida, wrote it, left Florida, went and did a few other things, like shot a music video, and went to Colorado for a little while, went to Georgia for a little while, and then I came back here to do this movie, and so now we're doing it. So, it can take a year. If I could devote every day just to writing the book, I could probably finish it in a month, honestly. But, it's not like that. I don't devote my time that way.
Wow, boy.
Well, because you like to multitask. You like to do one project, set one aside, and then do another project. I totally get you, because that's how I am too. I like putting one project down, starting a new project, coming back to that project, and finishing it up.
But don't you have a hard time sometimes finishing up, though? You start a project, and then you kind of let it slip or slide, or...
Well, that's when fresh new ideas come in, too.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, God. I mean, you've had an exciting life. I mean, I don't know if sitting behind a computer and inputting stuff in there, but the knowledge you learned, what's going on, it just seems like, I mean, is the government also controlling the big corporations out there like Walmarts and Targets and, and all the other ones? Could they also cause like the other ones to like not make it if they wanted to by manipulation, or is the government going that far, do you feel?
I really probably, I don't, well, what do I feel? I feel like, there's a trickle-down effect. You have the corporate CEOs of the major corporations at the top who are also tied in with government contracts, the United States of America, the IRS, because there's a lot of tax dollars at stake also, that it seems like the little guy, the smaller corporations, they can't really compete against the major market corporations, those bigger companies. And those bigger companies have a lot more power than you might think. So I think it's really easy for these big corporations like Walmart, Target, the major fast food companies that, you might have one company that owns like 2 or 3 different fast food chains on, and you have those that are controlling that area of the industry, supermarkets like Safeway and Food Lion, different companies like that, Publix and Winn-Dixie. They eat up the major markets, and they have the budget. They have the larger budgets so that they don't have to really worry so much always about their bottom line. They're always going to be in the black, whereas you have the small market mom and pop companies that, have to compete against the major marketing dollars corporation. That's the thing about making a profit. I learned in business school, advertising dollars are directly proportional to profit. So the more you can spend in advertising, the more money you're going to make in profit. And you can even, I was watching TV yesterday and I saw a commercial. You see all the commercials for all the different pharmaceuticals and the fast food companies and the cars, and they're a certain quality. I mean, high quality, HD. You can tell it's big budget. They're paying superstars sometimes to even, look at KFC is now using that one country singer, Reba McEntire, to be the new Colonel Sanders.
Oh, wow.
So they have that level of marketing, and they're nationwide. And then I saw a smaller local restaurant run a commercial, and it looked like, it was shot back in the 70s. It was cheap. They were using locals who just happened to be in a restaurant. The noise quality was bad. The sound quality, the picture quality. It's just a different level. So when you have smaller market companies trying to keep up with major corporations that are being, backed, that are probably also, helping support election campaigns, they're going to be able to get more bang for their buck. They're there in the right circles, and they're the ones that are going to eat up most of the market. So I think it's just kind of the nature of that business. They might not be intentionally doing it, but one of the main laws of a corporation is that your goal is at the end of the year or fiscal year is to make a profit. That's your primary objective.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do that by all means necessary. They want cheaper labor. They want A quality employees at D salaries, and they're going to charge as much as they can. And like Walmart, they have a computer algorithm that monitors their profits and pricing structure to the, to a very fine line where if I go into a certain Walmart and I buy a certain product, every week for a few months, just at that Walmart, the price of that product might go up based on my spending alone. Maybe not at all the other Walmarts. I might buy a certain air freshener all the time for $3.49, and if I keep doing it, it's going to go up to maybe $3.55. And if I go down the street to another Walmart, it might still be at $3.49. So that algorithm is so fine tuned that it's going from store to store, area to area, almost person to person on an individual basis. And I don't think the mom and pop stores are really going to be able to, they don't have that technology usually.
No, they don't.
Expanding.
And from what I heard about Walmart, now this could have been wrong, what I heard, but actually I read it. This one person claims, like, when you go to Walmart and, you use your Walmart credit card, right? They keep track of what you buy. So then all of a sudden you go home and you're on your computer, right? And it's all of a sudden you start getting all these ads, junk ads on your computer of, you have the same type of products you were buying at Walmart, And I think they actually probably monitor everything you buy, and then they, feed that information back to you without you realizing it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like, hey, this deodorant now is like $1.99 when, it was $2.99. just to entice you to, keep coming in. So they monitor what a person, purchases and what your habits are in that store. So they know, like, well, how many pairs of shoes you buy a year. They know